What's good, Kanekis? Welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all doing well. Abolish the minimum wage. I know this is going to be very controversial. I'm sure lots of you would have clicked this video in anger, hurrying into the comment section to tell me why I'm absolutely wrong. But give me a few minutes to explain. Let me preface this by saying that something has to happen before they can abolish the minimum wage, but I'll explain that at the end of the video, so do stick around for that explanation. But yes, the minimum wage currently in the UK, I think it's around £10 an hour. They increased it recently. And in the US, I'm not sure what the US is. I think the US is $15. I'll have to check. But the reason they need to abolish it is because each time they increase the minimum wage, they're effectively pulling up the ladder from the people who haven't gotten any employment, gotten any experience. So by and large, these are usually like 16-year-olds, 18-year-olds who may not have finished high school, A levels. And also, it also affects, the older people, say maybe 25, who didn't go to university. They haven't quite got the job experience. They haven't quite got the job skills. And they can't get it because they don't have experience in the first place to get the first job. And you add on to the fact that they keep increasing the minimum wage, their skills haven't increased. So it hasn't increased. And now that the minimum wage has increased, they are definitely not worth to the employer, they are not worth that fee per hour. So the employer is not going to employ them. And to those who are already on the minimum wage, when it's increased because of inflation, it never really keeps up with inflation in the first place. But when they increase it because of inflation and their skills have stayed the same, the employer looks at them and they're like, okay, even though they were on this wage, now that it has increased, they aren't worth that much to the company, so they're let go. The company lays them off and they replace them with AI, with robotics. So think of groceries. If you've been to any major supermarkets in the UK, Tesco, Lidl, Aldi, Sainsbury, you will see that it's been replaced by self-checkouts. Even Boots. We're talking about Boots, guys. Like you go to Boots and you expect to see the nice looking ladies checking out your stuff at the till. Not anymore. It's replaced by self-checkouts. And all this, I think the real shift happened after the pandemic, where employers realized, sorry, someone's walking by, where employers realized that actually they could keep the same productivity with fewer employees, because everyone had been furloughed. Some were furloughed, some were laid off, and they were like, actually, we can still generate the same amount of profits with fewer people. So they just started letting people go. And yeah, that's the current situation. I think in California, they recently increased it to $20 an hour. And yeah, people just get hurt. It's sold, like, the idea of minimum wage is sold as, yeah, we're helping to protect people so that employers wouldn't take advantage of them and pay them like peanuts. However, the issue is the people who do not have the skills, like I said, they cannot command that fee in the first place. So what ends up happening is they don't get a job. So what's worse, to be paid £5 an hour or to be paid nothing, right? And also, if they feel that the job is too small for them, well, they have the choice to not take it. If the pay is too small for them, they have the choice to not take it. They can say no to it. So what I'm trying to say is the market should dictate the wages, not the government, because that's effectively price controls. And we know price controls don't work. From the socialist Germany to the Soviet Union, we know that whenever government sets prices, it never works. It always ends in failure. And that's what they're doing with jobs. They're setting prices by setting the minimum wage an employer can pay. But the reason I said it, like something has to happen before they can abolish it, is because if they were to abolish it now, that would be even worse because because the government's printing. They're printing money, they're printing the paper currency. Well, we have to be back on sound money. It comes back to sound money. Because if we're on sound money, meaning the currency is backed by gold or silver, usually it's one or the other, the natural state will be deflation, meaning prices get cheaper over time. Meaning, we wouldn't necessarily need a minimum wage because effectively people who are even earning peanuts will be able to buy more over time because the purchasing power of the money they're using is increasing over time. Because remember, productivity is always going up. It's always going up because technology is always improving. Think about the amount of food that can be produced a year now compared to 20, 50 years ago. There's a lot more. Meaning things should be cheaper because the supply has gone up. So in the sound money system, we wouldn't need a minimum wage because even the lowest earners will be getting better off year over year. But that can happen because we are not on a sound money system. As I've explained several times before, the government prints money into oblivion. And this is something I tried to explain in a conversation on X, formerly known as Twitter, last year. I will put a screenshot up so you can pause it to read what I said. I can't remember everything, but you can pause it to read what I said. And I mean, people were going at me. They were like, "What are you talking about? You're..." They were talking about me like I was the Antichrist. But I say this with good intentions. Like I said, if people don't improve their skills and they're on the minimum wage, each time the government increases it, they are at risk of getting laid off because their skills have not improved or increased at the same rate to warrant the increase. It's like a raise. It's like a raise. If you don't go to your employer asking for a raise when you haven't improved your skills at the company, right? So why should that be any different? I think there's a fine line. There's a fine line between, wanting to do what feels good versus wanting to do what's right. It might feel good to say, yeah, we should have a minimum wage because we want to be ethical and stuff. But actually, I think the unethical thing is to keep this policy and this policy of minimum wage when it's clearly harmful. It's clearly harmful. I mean, youth unemployment is on the rise. More people are just, giving up and not even attempting to get back into the workforce because they can't. They're priced out of the market. And when they're priced out of the market, they then fall into the not so pleasant sides of life. So they then go into drugs, crime, to find ways of getting by, which I explained in part 3 of WTF happened in 1971. That's why men are being incarcerated more. Got dwindling prospects, not earning enough, can't start a family, can be contributors to society. So they then fall into gangs and, they fall off the good path due to inflation. That's the second order effect of inflation. And yeah, it sucks. It sucks because now people are no longer thinking long term. It's just about now. It's just about the immediate gratification. How can I satisfy my needs now? Because tomorrow I don't know whether I can afford it. That's the sinister thing about inflation. So I do recommend watching that video. I recommend watching the whole series, to be honest, because it explains everything. It explains everything to do with paper currencies, the evil of paper currencies. So I hope by the end of this video you have understood my point of view. If I haven't convinced you enough, please let me know in the comments and I will do my best to explain further. But if I did and you enjoyed it, please hit the like button, subscribe as well to catch future videos. I tend to do a video a week. Sometimes I might skip a week because of workload, but I try to do a video a week. Share the video out with people you believe will enjoy it, just to get the conversation going. As always, advocate for sound money. Let's get back on a gold standard or a silver standard. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.